the example of the United States, and I believe Canada as well, celebrates Thanksgiving to dedicate a day of the year to give thanks to the Lord. It actually should be more than one day of the year. And Johnette is precisely doing that, going to visit her family, traveling today, and that's why she is not joining us today. But she will be back with us tomorrow with another lovely delivery of a special program of Women of Grace. So always make sure and tune in to Women of Grace Monday through Friday here on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network at 11 a.m. Eastern. And we will broadcast a Best of the Week on Saturday, also at 11 a.m. Eastern. Today, we have our very special guest with us, Sue Brinkman, who is our staff researcher and journalist at womenofgrace.com, who will be sharing with us and reporting on the news stories of the week. And on this week, Sue, I give thanks for having had the pleasure to meet you, to work with you, and looking forward and thanking the Lord for many more years of friendship and of praying for one another. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you so much, and I second that, and I also give thanks for the wonderful station EWTN and the great work that it's doing around the world, and so many souls that are being led back to the Lord through that work down at EWTN. I give thanks to God for everything that you guys do down there. It's just wonderful.
Thank you very much, Sue.
It's a blessing, a great grace from God.
Oh, it is. It is. Amen. And we have to remind ourselves constantly of that, and also ask our dear listeners to keep our station affiliates in their prayers. You are hearing EWTN radio in your local community because of your local AM or FM affiliate. And they go through thick and thin. I know of many of our station affiliates who put everything on the line to be able to keep the station going. So please accompany them with prayers and with support as well. Another reason to be thankful for, Sue, and I'm especially thankful on this week for my parents, for my brother, for my family, and also for my extended family who make it so pleasurable to be away from family when it comes time for a holiday like this, to have that extended family. To, in many cases, they're not no relationships through bloodlines, but friendship and also the common mission. And I consider my family here, my extended family at EWTN, my coworkers here, to be my extended family. So very thankful for them as well. And Sue, there are many reasons for which we should be thankful this week. If you want to call and share one of those, we're going to open up our lines as well as talk about the news of the week that Sue has prepared. And you can always go and check at Sue Brinkman's breaking news blog, which is at womenofgrace.com. Our call screener, Matt Kubinski, is also a reason for which I am thankful, and he is our number one call screener here at EWTN Radio. He is the head call screener. So very, very grateful for him as well, for his health, praying for his health and recovery. And he will be with you. If you call and be in our show today, he will be the voice answering the call so that we can put you on the air. The number is 1-800-585-9396. That number again is 1-800-585-9396 so that you can be with us on the show Women of Grace here with Sue Brinkman today, reporting on the stories of the week. And also, if you want to share why you are grateful this Thanksgiving week, you can also chime in with that as well. And we can give each other support, encourage one another in our life of grace. That number again, 1-800-585-9396. And for our listeners outside the United States and Canada, we have a special international line for you, and it is country code 1, then 206-271-2985. That number, international number again, is 205-271-2985. One of the things that we should be thankful for, I think, Sue, is the fact that we call our country United States of America. And we see nowadays that the United States of America are not very much united. But the reason for those divisions go much, much deeper. And you have a story on your breaking news blog at womenofgrace.com, Sue, that is actually telling us why these protests are happening around the country and who is funding them. And it is very important for us to know who is funding these protests and creating all this division, Sue.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the funding, as far as that's concerned, there's some very serious questions being raised now about whether or not Planned Parenthood is behind a lot of these protests that are going on, actually funding them and paying the people to go out into the streets. There have been protests, or there have been ads, rather, appearing on Craigslist, and they were both before and after the election, which were offering to pay people up to $1,500 a week to get out and protest against Donald Trump. And the ads were placed by Planned Parenthood affiliates in major cities. Now, we're talking Boston, Denver, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. And most of them are still active now. They were active before the election, and now they're still active now. And they have phone numbers on there for contact information that belongs to Planned Parenthood's group called the Community Outreach Group, which is a for-profit organization formed by Planned Parenthood they call it a vendor for large-scale advocacy. So this is raising serious questions now. Are they actively funding these protesters? And how much of taxpayer money is ending up, going towards this, actually paying people to put on these displays in the street to damage property, automobiles and vendors and stuff like that? How much of our money is being used to do that? I think it's shocking. It's a shocking thing that's going on right now. We have, I think, too many people out there. One of the reasons they're doing it, they don't understand how presidents are elected. They don't get it. They're saying things like, well, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, so she should be the president. And the fact of the matter is that we've never elected a president by popular vote, and the reason that we don't do that is because we want every vote to count. And every vote doesn't count if you have just these large population centers like, New York and California, where all the votes are. Who cares about the smaller states, say the Wyomings or the Arkansas that don't have that population, those big population centers in it? Nobody's going to care about them, which means that the people in the larger states end up electing your president for you. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have an electoral college. People are saying things like, well, it's antiquated and blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. It's not something that can be antiquated. It's something that levels the playing field so that every voter who casts a vote in whatever state they're in, their vote will count. So you have a lot of these people out in the street right now chanting every vote should count and Hillary won the popular. And it's because I think they don't teach enough civics in classrooms anymore. They need to get back to that and teach the kids that, okay, this is how it works, and this is why it works this way, because you would not have half of them would not be arguing with that, because that's one of their big slogans, every vote must count. Well, if you really feel that way, then you need to get out of the street and start accepting what happened on November the 8th instead of, going against this electoral college. We have it for a reason, and that's why, so that all of our votes will count. So, yeah, there's some troubling things going on, but it's not that it hasn't. We haven't seen it, I don't think, at this level before, but back in the year 2000, I know that there was a lot of problems then. And, something that Mike Pence said this weekend after the dust-up at the Hamilton play, these are the sounds of freedom.
Yeah.
You do have both voices. However, both voices have a right to speak, and we can't be trying to silence one another. We should, encourage, of course, the dialogue. I think that's a wonderful thing, but not to the point where we're trying to shut down the government and shutting down traffic and in the middle of the street and things like that. That's going a little bit overboard.
And I think the reaction that Mr. Pence had where he nudged his children and he said that there is the sound of freedom, he is trying to pass along the values of freedom to the next generation. I think we should take example in that. Whether we agree or not agree with one or another particular focus or approach, we should consider that our behavior, our attitudes are passing along, or lack thereof, passing along the values of freedom and what this country stands for to the next generation. The young folks are, the kids, the children, they're watching every step we take, whether they can verbalize it or not. They're not going to be telling us, hey, I'm watching you, I'm learning from you, I'm asking questions, and even if I'm not asking questions, I'm still observing and drawing my own conclusions. And then when I get a little bit older, I'll put all of that into perspective and be my own person because of the information that you set an example to. They can't verbalize that to us, but they're watching, and our example should always be of the highest nature. We owe it to our younger generations.
Oh, absolutely, we do, and that's why it's so important that we educate our children and give them a good education about the way that our government systems work, so that we won't have all of these misunderstandings. People,
Yes.
I just feel sorry for them. So many of them are upset so unnecessarily. They're upset about misinformation. And if they had all the facts about what's really going on, as far as this electoral college and the voting process and that, they wouldn't be this upset. They would understand why. And I think that we have to do our part, though, in educating them.
Correct.
And helping them to understand what it is, so that we can diffuse some of the hotheads that are running around out there right now, because we don't need any of that.
No, we certainly don't. And Sue, I want to welcome our listeners who want to participate in the show. The number is 1-800-585-9396. We are sharing why are you thankful this week in preparation for Thanksgiving. We are thankful for Joanne Mullen listening in Maine, who says thank you for everything that you do. Thank you very much, Joanne. God bless you and keep you in prayer. Please keep all of us in prayer as well. We know that Brian is ready to share his reason for being thankful. We'll be talking to Brian in just a moment as well. And here with Sue Brinkman, we're going to be discussing the news of the week here on Women of Grace. In a moment, we'll be talking about what's going to happen with the transgender bathroom bills and the HHS mandate now that there is a change in office. All that and more lies ahead here on Women of Grace on EWTN Radio. Stay tuned.
This is Colin Donovan, host of the Friday edition of Open Line and the EWTN Theology Roundtable. As we remember at this Thanksgiving the blessings God has given our nation, our families, and us personally, don't forget to remember the poor and all of those unfortunates, so that they too may experience the blessings of God in their lives.
November 22nd, Feast of St. Cecilia, Virgin and Martyr. Psalm 33, verses 1 through 3 states this: Rejoice in the Lord, O you righteous. Praise befits the upright. Praise the Lord with a lyre. Make melody to him with a harp of 10 strings. Sing to him a new song. Play skillfully on the strings with loud shouts. Let us reflect. What is my song of praise to the Lord today? Today, I will think of 10 things to praise Him for since I awoke this morning.
If you'd like to receive a daily Grace Line by email, go to womenofgrace.com and click on the word Grace Line, and then check the box Receive Grace Lines. That's womenofgrace.com.
This is John Martinoni, host of EWTN Open Line Monday.
Hello, friends. This is Father Wade Menezes of the Fathers of Mercy.
This is Marcus Grodi, host of The Journey Home. Have a blessed Thanksgiving weekend from all of us at the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
This is Women of Grace on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. Glad you are joining us. This is Elena Rodriguez sitting in today for Johnette Benkovic, who will be back with us tomorrow. She's traveling to go see her family today and preparing for Thanksgiving, a wonderful, wonderful time of the year to be able to thank the Lord. He is the Lord of good and divine providence. Thank you, Lord. And thanks also to Sue Brinkman, who is our staff researcher and journalist here at womenofgrace.com. On the show today, our main guest on the show, and she is reporting the news of the week here on Women of Grace. We're also opening our phone lines to you. We're grateful for you and for our wonderful affiliates across this beautiful land, taking EWTN radio to your local community. And the number to call in is 1-800-585-9396. 1-800-585-9396. Share with us why you are grateful this week, and also chime in on the news that Sue Brinkman is going to be sharing with us. In a moment, we'll be talking about the HHS mandate, the transgender bathroom bills, what's going to happen with that. But we want to take this opportunity to welcome right now Brian, who is in Augusta, Maine, listening to EWTN radio through the Presence Radio Network. Brian, you want to share your reasons for being thankful. Go right ahead. You're live on Women of Grace.
Thank you, Elena. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
I was adopted in 1963 through Catholic Charities. And if I can get through this without a tear, I'll be doing good. And I am so thankful that my biological mom and dad didn't abort me. And on behalf of my children, my grandchildren, and especially my mom, who adopted me, I'm more grateful than I can express. And President's Radio Network has brought me back to the faith, and I am so indebted to them. Elena, I'm a very grateful man.
Oh, Brian, and thank you so much for having the courage and the composure to share that beautiful message with us. And we hear in your voice the great emotion and how deeply you mean this. It really is wonderful. And we share in your joy, and we also thank the people who have made it possible for you to be here today, everybody. And thank God that you are here.
Amen. Absolutely.
Sue, how wonderful that we start the show with our first caller, Brian, and sharing such a positive and thankful message.
I know. It's so wonderful. And listening to him talk, it just says to me that we take for granted our lives. And we're listening to somebody like Brian, he's right. He was at risk of abortion. And he's here today, and all of his children and all of his grandchildren are here today because his mother chose life. And I just think that, wow, it really just struck me how much we take for granted about these lives of ours. We take them for granted. And it's people like Brian that remind us, it's sometimes one decision would have been the matter of life or death. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you very much,
Elena,
Brian.
thank you so much. I wish you a blessed and joyful Thanksgiving to you, Matt, and Johnette, and everybody else connected.
Oh, thank you very much, Brian. And we will convey your congratulations and your message to Johnette. And on behalf of Matt Kubinski and everybody here at EWTN Radio, and of course of Sue Brinkman, everybody at Women of Grace, thank you, Brian. Thank you. Your call has meant a lot to us today. God bless you, and we keep you in our prayers. We go to Tiffany, who is in San Antonio, Texas, and she is listening to EWTN Radio through the Great Guadalupe Radio Network. Tiffany, why are you thankful? Welcome.
My name is Tiffany, and thank you for taking my call. I'm new to Texas. I'm from Colorado. And I just wanted to share in gratitude what God has done through this transition in my life. I've never lived anywhere else. I'm an only child, so I'm pretty close with my mother, who's still alive. My father did pass away years ago. And so I was in a really bad place after my dad passed away. I turned to drugs and alcohol, even more than I had before. My mother was very angry because she had a lot of hurt inside of her from her upbringing, where she made a choice to have an abortion or two that I know of. And then when I was an adult, I had an abortion at 19 and another one at 23. Now, the healing didn't come until I chose to get clean and sober at the age of 32. And when that happened, I was able to get really honest about what was going on. It was very scary. It was scary to me to face the truth because I didn't want to look at the truth for so long. But I was shown that we have a Heavenly Father. We have a Heavenly Mother who intercedes for us. We have the saints. And we have all these tools laid at our feet, in our hands, in our minds, and then we can pick them up if we so choose to. But if we choose to live in pain, then I can't get on the other side of gratitude. I can't get into gratitude. I can't say, I get to do this day. I say, oh, I have to do this. Or I have to go there, or I have to do all this stuff. So somebody told me, you can get through anything, just take God with you. And that has been what I have done since that time. And my life has changed so much. And now I don't financially bring my mother out to visit me out here in Texas, but she's financially able, and we get along much better, because when she was in a whole lot of pain, she was not a very nice person to me. She was a very cruel person. And I wasn't a victim. I allowed it to happen. But now I don't have to let it happen. And now, we're going to spend Thanksgiving together, and we have, a lot to share with each other. More than anything, I just share Christ with her to bring on healing as he has healed me.
That is so beautiful, Tiffany. And I hear it, not only that Jesus, what Jesus has done for you, but he's also, I can just see that empowerment in your voice as you're speaking. You sound so sure of yourself now, so confident. That really comes across in the way that you speak. It really does. And I'm grateful to God for all that he's done in your life, for you, and for all that he's doing in the lives of others through you, because he's reaching others through you. And I think that's a beautiful witness. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yes, thank you for letting me share. Have a beautiful and blessed day, and I love listening to your show.
Thank you very much, Tiffany. It looks like you have a beautiful reason to be thankful for there in the background, a young one. So our blessings and our hugs and good congratulatory messages for Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for enlightening our show today. And Sue, we go to a different topic. We go to Scott, who is in Wichita, Kansas, listening to EWTN Radio, wanting to chime in to our show. The number, if you want to do that, the number is 1-800-585-9396. That number again is 1-800-585-9396. And so let's see if Scott is available. Scott, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Go right ahead, Scott. Welcome to Women of Grace.
I was just wanting to call. It'd probably take me about 45 seconds to say everything I have to say. Earlier, the comments about the election and people protesting, I don't really think it's a situation where people don't understand how the Electoral College doesn't work. I think they don't really agree with the Electoral College. And just 6 months ago, Donald Trump was saying the Electoral College was a rigged system. It was outdated. It should be gotten rid of. I think what people are actually protesting is not because they don't understand how our government works. It's because they don't care for the person Donald Trump, his character, the person who makes fun of disabled people, the person who brags about committing adultery and doing totally ungodly things and assaulting women. I think that's what they're protesting, the bigoted things he says, the hurtful things he said about women. And the thing is, if you look in the book of Proverbs and you look at the 6 things that God hates, about 5 of those characteristics are Donald Trump. And as a Christian, you should stand up for the character of the man. This is the first time I've seen Christians actually support a man who has no godliness, who has said he's never repented, and yet the evangelicals seem to support this man, and it's an aberration. And it shows that our nation, maybe it isn't a godly nation anymore, because when you vote for a man like that and support him as a Christian, it's very sketchy.
Scott, thank you for participating. Before we take a hard break, I'd like to leave some room and time here for Sue Brinkman to comment on your participation today. Please stay tuned on the line. Sue?
Oh, I think that Scott has made several very, very good points. I think, though, that the support among evangelicals and Christians and Catholics, especially in my neck of the woods here, for Donald Trump was support for the Republican platform. They were just supporting the party. They really were very, very focused, at least in this neck of the woods up here in the Northeast, on the Supreme Court justices. That was a huge issue for all of us up here. And I think as far as the character of the candidates, I don't think either of them were really anything to brag about. And I do think that the reason why people are in the streets is a combination of things. It's not really just one thing. It certainly isn't just the Electoral College. It is, as Scott says, people are also angry at the man and some of the things that he said and done in his past. And these are all legitimate reasons. But, running around, breaking people's property, smashing car windows, and stopping traffic is not the way you do it. You get into the voting booth the next time around. You get involved in the election process, and you accept who won the presidency out of the interest of the common good. That's how we behave in a pluralistic society like this. Otherwise, we're going to descend into anarchy. That has to stop, what's going on out there. Whatever the reasons, Scott, whatever the reasons are. And everybody's got good reasons in this, but this isn't the way you act it out. You accept who was elected, you respect that office, and you do that for the common good. And then when the next time comes around to vote, get out into that voting booth. Too many of these people who are out there even admitting and bragging about the fact that, no, I don't vote. I don't vote in this process. And I think, well, that's why you lost. So there's a whole lot of things. It's very complicated. I don't think, we can really solve it here. I wish we could, but we can't. But I think they were good points, Scott, and I'm glad that you called and raised them with us. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you, Scott. Please continue to be a good listener here, a good man of grace, listening to Women of Grace. And you can call in and chime in on the stories that Sue Brinkman is sharing with us, our staff researcher and journalist here on womenofgrace.com. You can also participate with why you are so thankful this week and answer that question. The number is 1-800-585-9396. That number again is 1-800-585-9396. And Sue, with a change in office and a change in all the presidential elections and all the elections that trickle down through to even our local communities, we have to think if there is going to be a change or a shift in terms of key major issues like the transgender bathroom bill and the Health and Human Services mandate. You've done some research about that.
Oh, yeah. It looks like both of them are probably doomed, the bathroom bills and the HHS mandate. As far as the bathroom situation is, that was dependent on this Dear Colleague letter from the Department of Education that was ordering schools to allow students to use the bathroom that corresponds with their perceived gender rather than their biological gender. Now, the new administration can simply come in there and withdraw that letter. It just wouldn't be that big of a deal. And also, as far as the HHS mandate is concerned, this shakeup now in the whole Department of Health and Human Services, you've got to expect that certain things are just simply not going to pursue anymore, and the Trump administration could probably bring about a swift end to this whole matter about forcing religious institutions to supply insurance for services that go against our religious beliefs simply by agreeing to meet the demands of these religious institutions. They could just, stop fighting them. And hopefully that would bring it about to a swift end. But most of the experts, the legal experts, are saying that those two are probably on the chopping block. They're probably going to go. So that's good news to a lot of people out there. That's good news to a whole lot of people out there.
And also clears the way also for more and more in-depth discussion that would hopefully involve all members of community, not just one half of them. And so we are also going to be talking here on Women of Grace upon our return about what do we do and how do we use prayer to focus on facing adversity. That's another thing we can do here on Women of Grace. You are listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network with our guest, Sue Brinkman, our staff researcher and journalist here at Women of Grace. This is Elena Rodriguez. Hoping that you will be with us for the remainder of the hour. You can call in 1-800-585-9396. Stay tuned to more of Women of Grace coming right up.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
Now, St. Paul has a couple passages here I want to read to you. He says here in Ephesians chapter 5, he said, "This may be a wicked age." Oh, does St. Paul thinks it's wicked? Well, I do too in many areas. You don't have to be very bright to know that things are not the way they should be, are they? Tonight we read about a family who tortured their children unbelievably. And you just kind of look up and say, how? Why? Every day something more terrible happens, or something in the church, something. He said, this may be a wicked age, but your life should redeem it. Oh, wow. See, we can't put all the responsibility on God, can we? Although God does it all, I am also responsible, and so are you.
For more information on Mother Angelica, visit Religious Catalog at EWTNRC.com.
Did you know the Women of Grace Foundational Study is designed to help you discover your dignity and vocation as a daughter of God? Join with others at home or church for a journey of discovery and transformation as you explore the call and gift of your femininity. How about leading a group? Everything you need is in the Facilitator Kit. For information how you can start a group or join one, call 800-558-5452 or visit womenofgrace.com. Get started today on the journey of your life.
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I really think Thanksgiving is the secret to happiness. And as Catholics, we have so many things to be thankful for. I'm thankful to be alive, and I'm especially thankful for knowing God in the Catholic Church and Christ. And I thank God for EWTN and the privilege of being able to share that faith with people all around the world all the time and to listen to their stories about how they came to the Catholic Church and to the fullness of the truth about Christ and our salvation. Thankful for family, thankful for the freedom of our country, thankful for so many things.
This is Archbishop Charles J. Chaput, the Archbishop of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Hi, this is Tim Staples from Catholic Answers Live.
Hi, this is Teresa Tomeo from Catholic Connection. Have a blessed Thanksgiving weekend. That's from all of us at the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
You're listening to EWTN Radio. Women of Grace is live this hour. Elena Rodriguez sitting in for Johnette Benkovic, who is traveling to see her family today. Will be back with us tomorrow. So make sure and tune in at 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Saturday here on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. Our guest is Sue Brinkman, our staff researcher and journalist at womenofgrace.com. You can read her breaking news blog by going to womenofgrace.com and then going down the page, breaking news blog, click there, and she updates stories constantly. So it gives you the power to be in the know and to see stories that usually you don't see out there, but that they are very good to know because they empower you and also give you a good, solid, foundational argument to defend your faith in any situation you may find yourself. 1-800-585-9396. And if you are outside the United States or Canada, you can call country code 1, then 205-271-2985. Today, we are talking about the news stories of the week with Sue Brinkman. We are also focusing on why we are thankful. And we have May, who is listening in the beautiful state of North Carolina to EWTN Radio through Sirius XM 130. May, welcome to Women of Grace.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
What is your question?
I'd just like to make the comment about being thankful for the sacrament of reconciliation and connecting it to our hope in God and His ability to be able to use Donald Trump in a positive way. I've listened to Catholic radio for a long time, both EWTN and other channels, and I've never once since he won the election, heard anyone talking about the possibility of this being an opportunity for Donald Trump to convert, as we all are supposed to convert as sinners. Everybody keeps complaining about what he's said in the past, but we can move forward with the hope that perhaps Donald Trump will see his faults and be able to publicly repent and be a positive role model in the future.
Oh, I think that this is something that has to be done. We have to pray for this president. And in fact, there is a new nationwide novena, a 54-day Rosary novena about to kick off. That's going to kick off on November the 28th, which is the Feast of St. Catherine Labouré, and it will end on Inauguration Day on January 20th, 2017. And it's being called Novena for Our Nation, Praying Grace into Our New President. So this is exactly what you're looking for, May. This is what we all have to do because May is absolutely right. We need to pray for his conversion of his family, conversion of this nation, conversion of all those people who are out there chanting in the streets in favor of abortion and these things. We need to keep praying. Our job is not done. Just because the pro-life platform is now in office, we need to continue to pray so that we can bring more of our brothers and sisters into our fold. Now, this new novena is being hosted by RomanCatholicMan.com. And you can go out to our website, and I have a link to RomanCatholicMan.com right in our article about the novena, or you can just go to that site. And it just gives you information about when to start the novena. It also is being accompanied by what's called basic training in holiness, which means that every day you're going to be getting like a little something to reflect upon, and that's being written by Father Richard Heilman. He's a priest of the Diocese of Madison, Wisconsin, and he's the Wisconsin State Chaplain for the Knights of Columbus. So you're going to get a little bit of, you're not only going to be praying, but a little bit of basic training in holiness as you go through this novena for our new president. But May, you're absolutely right. We've got to pray for his conversion. We absolutely have to do that. That's got to be top of mind right now. Thank you so much for reminding us.
Thank you very much, May. And we also want to invite you to be part of the show, 1-800-585-9396, here on Women of Grace, through the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. Our guest is Sue Brinkman, our staff researcher and journalist at womenofgrace.com. We welcome Vince, who is listening in Rochester, New York, to EWTN Radio through, I love the name, Stations of the Cross. Welcome, Vince.
Hi, folks. How are you?
We're very blessed.
Thank you.
Great to have you,
Thank you.
Vince.
First thing I want to say is, Elena, I know you're substituting, and throughout the day I hear you on the different programs, and I just wanted to let you know what a fantastic job you always do. And Sue, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm going to try to be brief, and it's going to be impossible, but I wanted to, I don't know if rebut is the right word, to a gentleman who called shortly ago regarding Donald Trump, and I felt just so compelled to call. I'm not one to usually call into the radio, but everybody has, anyone who has put Mr. Trump down has seemed to always take the position of his past. And, all of us as sinners, and as Christians, part of our mission is to dispense forgiveness, as the Lord has dispensed forgiveness for us. And even though as we go through our day-to-day lives, none of us are perfect. And even when we ask the Lord for forgiveness, we have a tendency to backslide and do some things that we shouldn't continue to do, et cetera. But I do believe, given the choice that we had on Election Day, Mr. Trump is not, necessarily the same person, at core that people like to refer to. I've followed him as a business person myself, and watched over the years, especially 20 years ago, where he fell completely flat on his face. And I'm not going to say, because I don't know, that he had some kind of revelation, but I do know, because he's spoken about it, where he's made changes in his life for the better, and it's had a positive effect on him as well. But I do want to tie in, because a lot of people who call into these shows like yours, or even talk in public, would love to bring out the Bible, and they talk about these things to support their position as to why he's a bad man. And my rebuttal is Paul the Apostle. If we were going to continue to just look at people's pasts, okay, and not look at how they have the potential to change, although nobody's perfect, then we should just wipe Paul the Apostle right out of the Bible. And he's one of the greatest authors, and if we look at his conversion, how evil he was to Christians, okay, but yet he is a cornerstone, a huge cornerstone that we look to. So I want to remind folks about the people not only just can change, and I know that it sounds just very broad stroke, but given the choice that we had on that day, we definitely had someone who was steadfast, hardcore, against our beliefs. And even if you wanted to just pick out a handful here and there, for example, abortion, the economic platforms, etc., this individual was definitely 180 degrees away from our way of thinking. Where we also had a choice is somebody, again, not perfect, okay, but has made changes, has gone out to say, hey, I used to believe this, but I believe this now. And I would say that we should reflect upon ourselves. How many times have we done, this is what I used to do, but now I'm changed. Okay, I know the difference between this is right, this is wrong, but now I've changed. Should we all be persecuted for our past? I disagree with that. And if we continue to persecute our brothers and sisters for their past, then we don't progress. I do believe that he was the best choice at the time. I supported him then. I will support him now. I do agree, Sue, what we were talking about praying, and I'll tell you this. Again, an observation, I stayed up all night watching this thing, and every time they panned over to the different camps, if you will, the headquarters of the two teams, I noticed that on the one side we had a lot of young people who were just up in arms, but I noticed the other side, as the numbers came in and fluctuated this way and that way, up and down, that the Trump team, you could see people who were praying. Okay, and again, that might be, some people might consider that over the top, but I didn't see that happening on the other side. And there are definitely younger people. I'm not here to put anybody down, but I do believe the more you learn, the more you'll agree. And this might be just somebody who's, 50 years old talking, but in the end, I did want to bring up the fact that, if we looked to just persecute people for their past, then we should most certainly just abolish looking at Paul the Apostle in the Bible because of his past. And we don't do that. We look at him with high regard, and I believe that if we continue to pray for Mr. Trump, we'll definitely get, the desired result. I think we're off to a very good start, and time will tell, but we still need to be united in terms of prayer. We shouldn't just stop here. This is a long journey, and I do believe, like I said, I'm not going to say that he's changed and perfect, okay, because none of us are. But I do believe that the other individual chooses not to change at all. And we're definitely in better hands. So anyways, thank you very much. And also, getting back to the focus of being thankful, I am very thankful that he won. Because we were very worried. My family, friends, associates were very worried about what might happen if he didn't get in. And again, we know that he's not perfect, but we're thankful that he did because we feel that, it was a way to truly save our country from going down we've been going down a bad path, but to continue to go down that path and a tunnel of darkness, if you will. I believe right now that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train coming. So thanks so much. Again, Elena, you always do a great job. Sue, thanks so much. And you guys enjoy the rest of your day and have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too, Vince. Thank you very much.
Vince. How well-spoken is he? He is. That was wonderful, Vince. It really was. I mean, I just say ditto to everything that you just said. I agree with you 100%, and especially about the fact that, yes, Paul was a very bad guy, too. And look how he changed. Sometimes we've got to remember what Jesus said, those who were forgiven much, they love much. And that is so true. And those people that were so naughty before, and I'm speaking of myself here because I was a revert, and I very often have people throw up in my face, well, you used to do this, and you used to do that. I think, you know what? People can change. And maybe we need to get out of the past and stay in the present, live in the present. And, this is who I am now. And I'm a changed person. I'm not that person anymore. I hate to disappoint you, but you're not going to find her anymore because she died, and this is who I am now. And I'm now alive in Christ, and I'm happy about that, happier than I've ever been in my life. So absolutely, I agree with you, Vince, and I think that this election was, in the year of mercy, God showed us mercy. And I'm very impressed by your saying that you had seen so many people praying in the camps, the opposite camps, as the cameras were going back and forth on election night. Because I didn't notice that, but it doesn't surprise me because I do believe that our Lord, as far as the babies are concerned and some of these policies, I truly believe that this was an act of mercy. And we're going to have to now keep praying for our new president and his whole administration, not just for him, for all of them that are going to go in there because they're going to have a tough road. They're going to be probably savaged by the press for the next 4 years, and they're going to have to stay strong and stay focused. And we just need to keep them in prayer at all times. Thanks so much, Vince, though, for calling in. You're a great guy, and you just made my day. You really did.
Thank you very much, Vince. Blessings to you, and may you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, not just this week, but every week of the year. And here's something you can do for yourself to celebrate Thanksgiving, not just this week, but every week of the year, is to download the EWTN app. I've done that myself. It's very easy. It's free to download. You bring it in and download it into your mobile device, and you can carry EWTN with you everywhere in many of the stations, the areas of this country. You may not have a physical AM or FM affiliate in your area, but you can download the EWTN app, run it through the car stereo system, and then you can take EWTN with you providing that that using the internet doesn't really become very expensive for your phone bill. But in any case, it is a great free download, and you can enjoy EWTN live television and radio streams, also audio and video on demand, which means if you missed a show, you can go back and listen to it later, or tell somebody about it. Hey, make sure you listen to this and that show. Make sure you listen to Women of Grace, and they can catch up on something that you want to share with them as well. It's a wonderful way to make friendships and to share all the wonderful, good, solid Catholic programming that comes with the EWTN app. It is a free download. You can go to EWTN.com and download it from there. It also includes a free full RSV CE Bible and Gospel of Mark audio from the Truth and Life New Testament audio Bible. It is a wonderful app. And we want to invite you to call in to EWTN's Women of Grace today, 1-800-585-9396. That's 1-800-585-9396. Talking today with Sue Brinkman, our staff researcher and journalist at womenofgrace.com. Sue, we have Carmen in Illinois who is listening to the EWTN radio wanting to talk to you. Carmen, go right ahead.
Well, hello, good morning.
Good morning, Carmen.
I wanted to call to say how thankful I am to God for my parents, and mostly for my mother, who instilled faith. And it was because of her example as a godly, faithful, persevering love of the Lord that I eventually, even though faith is a grace, I've grown in my faith. By God's grace, I've grown in my faith. So I just wanted to say how thankful I am for that, for my parents, for their role in my life, for giving me life, for loving their children. And I agree wholeheartedly with Vince, too. So, Vince has it down pat. The fact of the matter is that President-elect Trump is open to faith and prayer. As a matter of fact, the other day, he and Vice President-elect Pence went off. It even mentioned it on Fox News, if you watch Fox News, that they went off to a prayer session or a prayer or something of sorts. And so conversion is the goal of every one of our lives. And so I think, and he's pro-life. He appreciates the dignity of life. And I think to the previous caller before Vince, I think that caller may not have been aware of that fact or issue. But I think that in addition to the Supreme Court matter is what made Trump a viable, hopeful candidate. And our whole country, every one of us should always have hope. And prayer is what allows that hope, ray of hope to always shine for everyone.
Thank you, Carmen.
That is so true. I know, Carmen, this being a third Carmelite myself, I that's where I get all my hope. That's where I get all my energy. That's where I get all my meaning for being alive is in prayer. And I just, I'm just so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for my faith. Just as you said, I didn't stop to think about that until you mentioned it. Yeah, I'm grateful for my faith and the faith that my parents gave me. And I believe that the way my parents raised me is what did eventually bring me back after I strayed and hit into a bad time in my life. And then, when I had nobody else and nothing else to turn to, I turned to that faith that they had taught me about, and they had so vehemently wanted me to follow. And they will always say, well, as long as you're in this house, you're doing what we want and you're going to Mass. And that's the way it was with me. But I'll tell you what, when push came to shove, that's what I think brought me back, was the way my parents had raised me and the faith that I knew was right. I knew in the depths of my heart that it was right, and it brought me back. And I'm thankful for that and thankful for my folks, too. Thank you, Carmen, for reminding me about that.
Gratitude is so important, and we want to be very grateful to God for our listeners. Whether you're participating on the show today or you just listening and tune in, or whether you listen to a podcast of the show after the fact, we want to take this opportunity to thank you and wish you a very, very happy Thanksgiving week. you can still get in. We have a couple of minutes left. 1-800-585-9396. We go to Susan, who's listening in Buffalo, New York, to EWTN Radio through Stations of the Cross. Susan, have you been able to dug out from all that snow yet?
Hello.
Hello, Susan. Welcome to Women of Grace.
Hi. I'm sorry I'm at a Tim Hortons. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. I also wanted to come to the defense of Donald Trump. He is truly, honest to God, if you can't see by watching CNN and watching some of the other mainstream medias and even looking at your local newspaper, that it is totally slanted against him.
Yeah.
Death threats, in your face, just criticism on social media. It's all about, I'm going to kill him. Why do you think that is? It's demonic. Because even Republicans, I hate to say it, Republicans and Democratic both, there was so much corruption in our government and against God. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
On the outside, yes, they raise the flag, but there's no prayer in the schools. Our families are going down the tube, especially minorities. Our children are not being educated to follow God and obey and listen. They are taught to be rebellious. Okay? So God has answered our prayers in this year of mercy, and I thank God for that last lady that called. He is correct. He did convert. He did become a Christian. He is a baby Christian, and he needs a lot of prayers, but not only because he's facing all of hell.
Yeah.
The groups that are out there rioting right now, do you think these are all kids that hate Trump? And why do you think that is? Hillary's whole campaign was run on telling everyone that he was a racist and a bigot and that he hates Jews. And I don't know where they came up with this, because Israel loves Trump.
Susan, thank you very much. We just want to allow, before we close the show, opportunity for Sue to comment on your comment. Go right ahead, Sue, please.
Oh, Susan's absolutely right. And I'll tell you what else I believe, Susan. I think that the press in many ways is responsible for the unrest that we're seeing right now, because they so frightened people with these false narratives that they were spewing out there about Donald Trump. He's this, he's that, he's the other thing, without a whole lot of evidence, I might add. And they got people so riled up that now they're taking out to the streets, and they are sincerely frightened and scared about what's to come, because they've been told all this baloney for the last 18 months. And I think that they are very much to blame for what is going on there. They're not only to blame, but they share a huge portion of blame for what's going on out in the streets right now. They need to get back to regular, just everyday journalistic reporting, and just give us the facts and let us make the decisions on our own. Don't try to tell us how to think, because that's where they go wrong, and that's where they start these kinds of mass movements out there. And you know, how are we going to speak to these people now and try to convince them that, hey, what you heard is not true, or it's a half truth, or something like that, or it's a stretch? You know, they're leaving the mess for us to clean up now. So yeah, I want a lot of prayer too. We got to just stay with that prayer, because that's what got us this far, and it will continue to carry us the rest of the way.
Prayer for gratitude and healing. We're thankful for you, Sue Brinkman, staff researcher at womenofgrace.com. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Elena.
And a wonderful Thanksgiving to you and all your wonderful family.
And same to you.
Amen to that. We wish you a very, very happy week of Thanksgiving. Always give thanks to the Lord. That's what we do here on EWTN Radio's Women of Grace. And stay tuned tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. John at Benkovic will be back with more of Women of Grace. Coming right up, Jerry and Debbie with Take Two with Debbie and Jerry. You can still call in and participate on the show with them. 1-800-585-9396. Stay tuned.